Stand your ground laws are being turned into a manufactured race issue. This is Scotty Reed for Black Talk Radio News. Al Sharpton and the NAACP have yet again hijacked a black grassroots movement, making the murder of Trayvon Martin a racial issue about stand your ground laws. Sharpton told supporters in New York that he wants to see a rollback of stand your ground self-defense laws. He says, "We are trying to change laws so that this never ever happens again." Who appointed Al Sharpton to speak for the masses of black people? And the last time I checked the polling data, the NAACP has a pretty low favorable rating among black people in America. Instead of asking for a federal oversight of police departments using racial profiling to stop and frisk, to stop and harass and arrest millions of black people, which is a violation of their Fourth Amendment rights, instead of asking for legislation that requires an independent federal investigation of all shootings involving police officers killing unarmed civilians, instead of asking for a repeal of the laws, rules, and procedures that are keeping black people off juries, the political capital of all these black folks in the street is being spent on something the Democrats and liberals have had on their agenda for a long time, and they are using their racially showcased agents to accomplish this goal. Why are people acting as if black people were not being killed before stand your ground laws were passed, and that black people are not being killed in states without stand your ground laws? How many people know that the stand your ground laws are already under review by the U.S. Civil Rights Commission, which is conducting a study on the laws to see if they are open to racial bias in their application? The study will take at least a year to complete. However, FBI data already shows that there were only 25 homicides of blacks committed by whites within a 9-year period in both the stand your ground and non-stand your ground states. That breaks down to only 2.77 homicides per year where a white person killed a black person and justified under existing self-defense related laws, whether they are related to stand your ground laws specifically or traditional self-defense laws. Compare that to the number of black people being killed by law enforcement officers and security guards. If the Malcolm X grassroots movement is correct in its assessment that black people are being killed by law enforcement officers, security guards, and vigilantes every 28 hours, that currently breaks down to 313.06 black people per year. Now subtract the 2.77 homicides where the shooter was white and the person who was shot was black, and you come to 310.29 black people being killed by cops and security guards every year. What if we decided to not make it a racial issue and included the number of non-black people being killed by cops and security guards, and we might find that number doubling or even tripling? I think it is clear who the biggest killers of black people are in the United States, and it is not racist white people with guns, but killers with badges sanctioned by the states. As far as the Trayvon Martin murder goes, stand your ground was never invoked, as George Zimmerman never claimed immunity under the law, and therefore did not go through a Florida stand your ground hearing. The state attorney, Norm Wolfinger, and former police chief Bill Lee appear to have wit against the determination of the responding officer and lead investigator that George Zimmerman had possibly committed an act of negligent manslaughter and let Zimmerman walk right out the door the night of Trayvon Martin's killing. The other issues surrounding the case arise after activists finally pressured Florida officials to bring charges. The jury selection process in Florida allowed for the exclusion of black people and other non-white people. George Zimmerman did not live in an all-white community, so why did his jury end up being all white, including a possibly white-identified Hispanic like himself? Granted, That still does not mean you will have gotten a guilty verdict, but now information is surfacing that the jury was allowed to have unsupervised visits with family members during the trial, and need I mention the racist views expressed by juror B37 on Anderson Cooper 360. Again, the issues surrounding the murder of Trayvon Martin have little to do with stand your ground laws, but more to do with police corruption and a racist injustice system. I am just one of those persons that prefer to look at the statistical facts as opposed to being moved by emotions and manipulated by the social controls known as the racially showcased weapons of mass confusion. This is Scotty Reed. I'm out.